Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be kind of like a seasonal journey through music history because we are going to investigate how Mariah Carey became the Queen of Christmas. And of course that is in large part due to her 1994 Christmas album called Merry Christmas, which just celebrated its 30th anniversary back in October. This isn't technically an Eras Analyze, even though we are going to talk quite a bit about that album because how can we not? But we are going to talk about another Christmas album of Mariah's as well as several performances during the holiday season. So it's like an Eras Analyze with a little more on top, which I'm sure you guys will all enjoy, and it is right on time for the holiday season. So let's go ahead and get into Merry Christmas and Mariah Carey. It's pretty ironic but true that initially Mariah didn't even want to make her holiday album. It was her then husband and label head Tommy Mottola who suggested it. According to him, having a hit Christmas song would be guaranteed royalties every year. And at the time, Mariah was a pop force in her prime with 3 hit albums under her belt, and holiday albums were thought to be more appropriate for legacy acts, especially when we're thinking about pop stars who, while still respected, weren't necessarily dominating the charts the way they used to. And because Mariah was so dominant in pop at the time, when her holiday album was announced, some worried that she would struggle to cross over into a new genre. Christmas music typically has a more classic mid-tempo sound, and even for the songs Mariah planned to reinvent, there was fear that these reworks may not live up to the original versions, which were obviously classics.
You're out there now competing with Winter Wonderland and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Is that heavy pressure on a song, on a songwriter?
I don't look at it as competing, I look at it as more of me giving my little contribution to the world of Christmas songs, and hopefully my fans will enjoy them, and it'll be something for me to sing during the holidays because I'm totally the hugest, Christmas fanatic.
Also, though Mariah had been pretty open about taking inspiration from multiple places and artists, some worried infusing Christmas carols with more soul and R&B influences may not go over well, at least commercially. But obviously prior to this, you had Christmas albums from labels like Motown, even Boyz II Men also with Motown, putting out Christmas interpretations at the time, so there was also evidence that it could work. For Mariah, the goal was to have a little bit of everything on the album, upbeat, poppy holiday songs, as well as those that were heartfelt and sentimental, and then of course the hymns that kept the religious spirit of Christmas present as well. In interviews, Mariah said that even though she is not gonna act like she doesn't love the secular parts of Christmas, the decorations, the gift giving, all of those festivities, the religious aspect of it being the day that we celebrate Jesus, or one of them I suppose, that is very special to her as well. And Mariah said about her Merry Christmas album, when it came to the album, we had to have a nice balance between standard Christian hymns and fun songs. It was definitely a priority for me to write at least a few new songs, but for the most part, people really want to hear the standards at Christmas time, no matter how good a new song is. And little did she know. Mariah, along with frequent collaborator Walter Afanasieff and Loris Holland, took the leads in terms of production, either constructing songs from the ground up or reinvigorating them with a modern touch. Walter said that because back then it wasn't the norm for artists to make a Christmas album a big deal or even have one to begin with, he and Mariah went into the album just doing their best and also pretty much just hoping for the best. Merry Christmas was recorded the previous winter in 1993 up until the following summer, finishing in August of 1994. And at some points, Mariah actually did say she didn't feel very festive writing a Christmas album and recording it over the summer. And she took the lead on writing the album's 3 original songs, Miss You Most at Christmas Time, Jesus Born on This Day, and of course, All I Want for Christmas Is You. And the latter is actually the lead single from Merry Christmas, released on October 29th, 1994, the day after the album. I did also see sources saying both the album and the lead single came out on November 1st of 1994, so maybe it differed based on location. I don't think I have to describe All I Want for Christmas Is You that much because at this point, just the twinkling bells on the intro can get an entire room to break into song. But it is a song that's heartfelt and fun in equal measure and is definitely more pop-leaning with some Motown influence as well. Mariah has described it as a silly, fun song, one that both 5-year-olds and adults can sing and enjoy. She and Walter penned the song in about 15 minutes, with Walter later producing the song electronically himself. So there's no band, just Mariah and her backup singers, and every instrument you hear was made or clipped from a computer. All I Want was well received upon its release as it peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary charts. It performed better overseas, peaking at number 2 in Japan and in the UK. And overall, Merry Christmas debuted at number 30 on the Billboard 200, selling 45,000 copies in its first week. It did quickly rise on the charts, eventually peaking at number 3, and it did go on to become the second highest selling holiday album of that year. Though the song is obviously a Hot 100 juggernaut now, All I Want for Christmas Is You didn't enter that chart until January of 2000. This is because it was released back in 1994 as an airplay-only single, which made it ineligible to chart at the time until the rules were changed. Then it only entered the charts at number 83, again speaking to how the song was a moderate hit for Mariah at the time and for years later. And some critics weren't too fond of the gospel and soul influences throughout the album, and one from the New York Times even criticized Mariah for over-singing. Tom Jackson, writing for the Tampa Tribune, claimed, "She wails, she warbles, her big old voice competes with an extremely determined backup trio and some overreaching orchestration. In other words, the usual. Her fans will love it. Traditionalists in search of something different may not." But other critics considered Merry Christmas to be Mariah's best album to date because of these influences. Steve Morse, writing for the Boston Globe, claimed, "Apart from her philanthropy, which is a welcome contrast to the behavior of some of her self-indulgent peers, Carey's becoming a much more confident singer. Her early albums are often polished to a fault, but she cuts loose with unbridled soul on the new Christmas disc. Oddly enough, it may be her best album." I feel like often when artists have holiday albums or soundtrack albums, we kind of don't count them in their discography for some reason, so it is nice to see when these albums get genuine acclaim too, if they're good. I think you can really hear the soul and gospel influences on songs like Santa Claus Is Coming to Town. The song is turned into something that you kind of feel like you could hear at church year-round with, maybe without the sleigh bells. This, of course, is helped mostly by the choir that supports Mariah throughout, but even her own style of singing with the growls and the runs adds a lot of heart and excitement to the song, just in time for Santa to arrive. This is a very common Christmas carol to cover, so a lot of artists put their own spin on it to stand out, and I think this version, and of course the Jackson 5 ones, are my favorite because I love those Motown soul influences. And the Justin Bieber version surprisingly has a little bit of soul in it too because it samples two Jackson 5 songs. Jesus, Oh What a Wonderful Child, obviously another cover, has a similar spirit, though this one has always been a gospel song, usually sung with pianos and organs for accompaniment. You can hear those elements in Mariah's version, as well as what sounds like classic church tambourine or ramping up the church, but also the holiday sound. The song was actually recorded in a church and with a choir, of course, and some of the children in the choir play the tambourines and other instruments heard in the background. The goal for this one, and it's pretty clear, was to pay tribute to the original version of Jesus, Oh What a Wonderful Child, and also show Mariah's love for gospel music. I don't even remember what the name for it is actually called because you usually literally hear it as taking someone to church or they're going to church, getting the Holy Ghost even. But that gospel breakdown towards the end sells the song even further because it makes you feel like you're at church. This is actually the final track on the original version of Merry Christmas, so you really get to end on a high note, leaving you energized and full of holiday cheer. Initially, only 2 singles were put out to support Merry Christmas, likely because of such a short window when promoting a holiday album. Miss You Most at Christmas Time was the second single, and it's a slower, longing piano ballad in which Mariah yearns for her lover at Christmas. So thematically kind of similar, but sonically the opposite to All I Want for Christmas Is You. And this is another one of the original songs written for the album. Throughout, Mariah narrates the festive atmosphere, the snow falling, the carolers singing outside. A big difference from Mariah, who yearns in solitude inside. I gaze out the window this cold winter's night. Again, it speaks to the idea of having a little something for everyone on Merry Christmas, because while a lot of people are reunited with their loved ones for the holidays, others are deeply missing or even grieving loved ones. Based on the lyrics, Miss You Most sounds more like a breakup song or thinking about that breakup over the holidays, but the message can definitely extend to missing people in general, and I think the lyrics are written that way on purpose. To further promote Merry Christmas, Mariah performed a Christmas concert at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine on December 8th of 1994. This now iconic performance was actually a benefit concert for the Fresh Air Fund, for which over $700,000 was raised, with Mariah herself donating an additional $1 million.
For the Fresh Air Fund at St. John's the Divine, how did you get involved in all this?
It all stems from the fact that I wanted to do something for charity, and I really wanted to do something, with kids for charity, because I think it really, you can really make a difference in someone's life when you're, dealing with children. So I thought about doing a camp, and it's a career awareness camp,
and it's actually going to be called Camp Mariah.
Yeah, which is very cool. It's kind of weird.
Along with her hit song Hero, Mariah performed 6 songs for Merry Christmas, and this was actually the first time she performed All I Want for Christmas Is You live. Even as recently as 2019, footage from this concert is still being released. For the 25th anniversary of Merry Christmas, Mariah released the rest of the performances from the concert because previously only Joy to the World had been on YouTube, and that was released back in 2016. Jesus Born on This Day was the next of the songs to be released. Again, this is one of the 3 original songs Mariah made for the album, and she's especially fond of this one. Though it wasn't a commercial single, it was made a promotional single a couple weeks after the release of Merry Christmas. It's a slower, piano-based song celebrating the birth of Jesus on Christmas Day. And not only that, the song is also about the hope and the unity that Christmas brings. One thing that I enjoy about it is the clear presence of children's vocals. It adds to that wonder and excitement about Christmas. Because you're typically pretty young when you first begin to conceptualize what Christmas is about, other than just getting a bunch of gifts. And last year at one of her Christmas shows, Mariah was joined by her daughter Monroe, who sang a lot of the child parts in the song. And just recently, to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Merry Christmas, Mariah released the performances from the concert as deluxe tracks on the album. I'm not sure if this was the first time that they were available to purchase, like if the concert had been sold as a tape or DVD previously, but this does mean that they're now available to stream too. One of my favorites on Merry Christmas is Joy to the World, which is the album's 3rd and final single. This one was made a single in 1995, over a year after the album's release. So not only speaks to how album cycles ran way longer back then, but also how if you have a Christmas album, you can get away with promoting it yearly. I actually also don't think I'm familiar with any other version of Joy to the World but the Mariah one, but I've obviously heard others. Mariah's version begins with her singing slowly and dramatically over piano and some very light synths, and then her backing vocalists come in. Again, it's very gospel, very hymn-like, and the tempo speeds up just a bit, echoing the original version of the song. But then it speeds up even further into a 90s dance pop beat, which I really enjoy.
Some of the standards you sing in a fairly standard way, but some others you've given a great new beat to.
Thank you.
How did you decide to do it that way?
I guess for the past few years, I've been thinking about maybe doing an up-tempo version of Joy to the World. And I thought it would be really interesting to have like a choir feel, but more of a gospel kind of an edge, but still doing the song, the melody that exists. And then we put that, Joy to the World.
It's upbeat and infectious, and I think aside from the normal nostalgia of the holidays, this specific production just makes you nostalgic for the 90s or 90s media. I wasn't there. This song specifically always makes me want to watch a family movie from the 90s, like Sister Act or something. And I don't agree with the over-singing critique, but I would say this song is pretty unrelenting in terms of both the production of Mariah's vocals and their key and tempo only keep changing as the song goes on. Joy to the World actually has an EP full of remixes, which includes cuts like a celebration mix, a Flava mix, and a club radio mix. I'm not exactly sure when these came out. They are dated as 1994, but Mariah didn't officially release them as a packaged EP until 2021. But based on the sound of them, I would think that they were recorded in 1994, and some, if not all, had been released, but just hadn't been put together until recently. By 1996, Mariah had released another album, Daydream, the year prior, and so had embarked on tour to promote it. The tour kicked off in Japan with Mariah's performance at the Tokyo Dome. Though these shows took place in March, she performed All I Want for Christmas Is You for the encore with a 60s Christmas-themed outfit, because the song at that point was her biggest hit in Japan. And I'm not sure if any songs from Daydream eclipse this, but probably, considering Fantasy is on that album. And over the years, Mariah has done several holiday specials, concerts, or one-off performances to promote her Christmas music, and because she's just festive. For example, in 2001, she headlined a Home for the Holidays, another benefit special to raise awareness for adoption. She didn't perform songs for Merry Christmas here. Instead, she did some of her more general hits like Hero, a cover of I'll Be There, and also Reflections, which was from the recently released Glitter. That same year, she also appeared at BET's Christmas special performing Joy to the World, as well as One Sweet Day with Boyz II Men. And in the following years, Mariah would continue to perform songs for Merry Christmas at events like the Grammy nominations party, on daytime TV, and even on her Charm Bracelet tour for the shows that fell in the holiday season. And these were actually a lot of the additional US dates. In November of 2010, 16 years after the first, Mariah released her second Christmas album, Merry Christmas to You. For this album, she worked heavily with collaborators Brad Michael Cox and Jermaine Dupri, again, writing the original songs and being involved with production on all of the album's tracks.
There are a lot of different influences on this album, but I really wanted this to be like part 2 of the Merry Christmas album. So this is sort of like where I've evolved musically, but I wanted to keep it classic, keep it traditional, keep it festive, happy, and I just wanted it to be warm feeling for the holidays so people would love it.
Even in articles about the second Christmas album, All I Want for Christmas Is You is often called a classic, so it was basically cemented by that point. Mariah, who was pregnant with the twins at this time, said that she sang the whole Christmas album to her belly. And also, CBS interviewed her around this time, and I don't think it was public yet that she was having twins, but people started to speculate because Mariah said, "I hope they don't turn out hating Christmas." Merry Christmas to You is led with the original song, Oh Santa. Thematically, it is kind of similar to All I Want for Christmas in that it's a song in which Mariah pleads for her lover to be brought back for the holidays. This one, though, has a more R&B vibe to it, though it is also upbeat. I love the punchiness and the clapping in it, as well as the chanting in the post-chorus. It just makes it have more of a laid-back feel to it, though it is definitely cheerful. This song also sounds like within the song you're with a group of people singing, performing the song, whereas All I Want for Christmas Is You sound more solitary. And Mariah said about making Oh Santa, "I just came in with a basic idea for how I wanted the beat to be, and I kind of knew I wanted it to be like writing a letter to Santa Claus. It's hard when you've already written a Christmas classic. It's weird for me to say, but it's true because a lot of people have grown up with the song and feel really close to All I Want for Christmas Is You. But Oh Santa is a different song. It just got sort of a similar feeling, but it's like a retro 60s type of feeling, but still modern. We wanted to keep it really simple in terms of the music." And later, for the song's 10th anniversary, a remix version with Jennifer Hudson and Ariana Grande was released. And again, I think that echoes that feeling of it sounds like you're with other people, even inside of this song. Merry Christmas to You also includes a reworked version of All I Want for Christmas Is You. I'm pretty sure it's been re-recorded, but also a longer wind intro was added in the same melody of the chorus before those familiar bells start. The original song starts with those bells, then Mariah singing part of the chorus herself before the tempo picks up and the first verse begins. The biggest difference, though, is that the 2010 version of the song was recorded with live instrumentation this time, which is the biggest change Mariah even said that she felt comfortable making since so many people were loyal to the original version of the song. And during the 2010 holiday season, Mariah performed songs for Merry Christmas to You at the ABC Christmas special. For her rendition of Come All You Faithful, Mariah was joined by her mother, Patricia, whose vocals are also included on the album version. And though these songs obviously get played during the festive season, Merry Christmas to You wasn't as big as Mariah's first Christmas album, it seems, at least in terms of presence and maybe even legacy now. But I even found articles from 2010, so the album was still new at this point, asking if Merry Christmas to You had flopped, and several Reddit posts, some in Mariah's own forum, some in more general places, saying Merry Christmas to You is unfairly overlooked. I even found a blog from years later calling it the forgotten Mariah Carey album. To kind of speak to this, the following year when Mariah did a collab with Justin Bieber for his holiday album Under the Mistletoe, it was a remix of All I Want for Christmas Is You rather than any of her more recent holiday offerings. They teamed up to release a super festive version of All I Want for Christmas, for which Justin recorded a new verse and he and Mariah shot a video for the song together. Justin said it had always been his plan to do some remix of All I Want for Christmas Is You for the album, but he didn't think they'd be able to get Mariah Carey involved. However, it was made possible because they were on the same label, so he was able to use those connections, and Mariah was up for it. And though, like I said, she'd done holiday specials in the past or done Christmas songs on tour, 2014 was the year that Mariah decided to make her Christmas show a more consistent thing. To celebrate Merry Christmas's 20th anniversary, Mariah's holiday residency called All I Want for Christmas Is You, A Night of Joy and Festivity was announced in October of 2014, set to kick off that December. But ahead of the residency, likely to promote both that and her holiday albums, Mariah performed at the tree lighting at Rockefeller Center that year. The plan was for Mariah to sing All I Want for Christmas Is You in front of a live audience on Tuesday night, have that performance taped, and then air on Wednesday during the actual coverage and ceremony for the tree lighting. Mariah, however, was over 3 hours late to the performance, which resulted in it being canceled. And she apologized to upset fans on Twitter, saying the situation was beyond her control. Reports claim that she had been delayed due to meeting with her lawyers as she was in the process of divorcing Nick Cannon. But because she didn't show up to Tuesday's taping, she instead had to perform All I Want for Christmas live during the coverage of the tree lighting that Wednesday.
Make my wish come true. I'm just gonna keep on waiting.
Most reviews of the performance were not favorable, with people saying everything from it sounded like a drunk karaoke performance to people saying Mariah should lip sync or use a louder backing track for subsequent performances. Some even claim the raw vocal footage of the performance was released by NBC in an attempt to sabotage Mariah. Writing about the performance, the LA Times claimed, "The 44-year-old octave-jumping diva failed to hit several notes during her cheerful classic, All I Want for Christmas Is You, which made for uncomfortable viewing and even more uncomfortable listening." So going into her Christmas show, expectations were all over the place as some of Mariah's most recent performances had left some fans and critics wanting. Mariah did receive mixed reviews for the residency, especially some of her earlier 2014 shows, where some in attendance claimed that she looked nervous or that the vocal performances again weren't her very best. Other reviewers were more positive, not only praising Mariah's performance, but also the over-the-top festive set design, which made it even easier to get into the holiday spirit. A review published by Billboard reads, "In recent years, Carey has often relied on backing tracks when slipping into an upper register, particularly when hitting whistle notes, and compared to clearly live vocal runs, certain stretches were a bit too precise to conceive. But that was of little concern, and to overly dissect her vocals misses the point. Even though she battled a few earpiece mishaps, she had to restart the Soul Secular number Hero after sweat caused the device to fall out, Carey accomplished what she came to do, spread Christmas cheer." The Christmas residency became a December staple for Mariah, and 2017 actually became the first year Mariah started shows in November. Maybe that speaks to increased demand, maybe it speaks to how it seems like Christmas starts earlier and earlier every year so business can start selling ornaments and decor. Either way, Mariah unfortunately ended up having to cancel a slew of these shows due to an upper respiratory infection. Also around this time, in December of 2017, All I Want for Christmas Is You entered the top 10 on the Hot 100 as it peaked at number 9. Several articles on this noted that a lot of people had just already assumed the song had broken the top 10 several times before, considering its popularity. And in one of these articles from Spin, I actually also found out that Mariah had her own Christmas factory hosted by the Sugar Factory, which also opened that year. So big year for Mariah and Christmas. This was basically Mariah's Christmas-themed takeover of the Sugar Factory, which was complete with festive candy, ornaments, and then other treats and memorabilia. And also in 2017, again, this is Mariah's Christmas year. She featured in an animated holiday movie titled All I Want for Christmas Is You. Obviously, it's based around Mariah's song, but not only that, also her children's book of the same name. The movie features an animated version of young Mariah, who looks kind of like little grown Mariah, and it's about her journey to secure a puppy for the holidays, which is her biggest wish. Lacey Chabert also has a voice role in this movie, and the pair previously worked together on a holiday movie called A Christmas Melody. And I haven't seen it, but I have seen some of the scenes online that have been charitably called camp.
I'm so sorry.
Wait, Kristen? Kristen Randall?
It's actually Kristen Parson now. Melissa McKean.
Melissa McKean Atkinson, married now, 12 glorious years, 3 children, huge 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath, 2-story.
By 2019, Mariah was playing even further into the Queen of Christmas title, announcing the festive season promptly at the beginning of each November. She's always been open about feeling like her fans play it too early, because for her, Christmas does not start in October, but by this time, she's conceded to at least beginning defrosting in November.
It's time!
And the whole defrosting thing even became a meme because you could expect Mariah and the internet, honestly, to begin promoting Merry Christmas, All I Want for Christmas Is You, as soon as the month changed from October to November. I think the song's lasting popularity at this point also speaks to the fact that by this time, there was a whole generation of people who are now adults who weren't even born when the song was released. I'm one of them. And so by that point, there were millions who hadn't gone one holiday season without hearing All I Want for Christmas Is You or any of the songs from Merry Christmas. And aside from that, social media like Twitter, Instagram, Vine, RIP Vine, and later TikTok really helped not just spread the song, but increase that meme aspect to it. December of 2019 was also the first time that All I Want for Christmas Is You went number 1 on the Hot 100, 25 years after its release. This meant the song held the record for the longest journey from release to number 1, which is held simultaneously in the UK, though it took 26 years to top the singles chart. And Mariah said about this, "The continued love for my song never ceases to amaze me and fill my heart with a multitude of emotions. It blows my mind that All I Want for Christmas Is You has endured different eras of the music industry." This record has since been broken by Brenda Lee's Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, which took 65 years to climb to number 1. And in terms of a song entering the Hot 100, remaining, and then climbing to number 1, Glass Animals' Heat Waves has also broken this record, as their song remained on the charts for 35 weeks before topping it. And additionally, All I Want for Christmas Is You was the first Christmas song since Alvin and the Chipmunks' Christmas Don't Be Late, which was released in 1958 to top the charts. And that song was the first Christmas song to ever do so, making Mariah the second to achieve this. Also, the song gave Mariah her 19th number 1 on the Hot 100, making her the solo artist, female songwriter, and female producer with the most number 1 hits. And the following year, 2020, All I Want for Christmas topped the charts again, making Mariah Carey the first and only artist in history to top the Billboard Hot 100 in 4 different decades.
In many ways, what you want to give to your kids and to your fans is this perfect, magical Christmas.
Yeah, that's true. And I know nothing's perfect, but I mean, just to give from your soul and give to someone else where we're all just coming together and enjoying being together.
And by 2022, Mariah had officially embraced the title as Queen of Christmas and tried to also do so legally, filing to trademark that moniker. Ironically, in 2017, she said that she didn't think of herself as the Queen of Christmas, though she was definitely honored, but rather as just someone who really loved the holiday and had written several songs about it. And according to NPR, her company, Lotion LLC, I'm assuming that's a chicken's ass and I'm lotion reference, Mariah wanted to use that Queen of Christmas branding, as well as the terms Princess Christmas and QOC, for a range of products from fragrances and makeup to clothing, jewelry, and dog accessories. As far as the Queen of Christmas trademark goes, 2 separate artists, Darlene Love and Elizabeth Chan, spoke out against Mariah's trademark filing, claiming that they also had the title bestowed upon them previously. Elizabeth's legal team filed a motion to oppose Mariah's Queen of Christmas trademark request, and Mariah's request was eventually turned down. And The Christmas Princess, by the way, that was the name of a children's book Mariah released around that time with Michaela and Angela Davis. So in the eyes of the law, Mariah Carey is not the Queen of Christmas, but in our hearts, she always will be. And the song had been platinum for a while, but as of December of last year, All I Want for Christmas Is You has gone 14 times platinum. And that year, the song was also inducted into the 2023 National Recording Registry. It's estimated that annually, Mariah Carey earns at least around $3 million from royalties on All I Want for Christmas Is You, and that's that song alone, aside from whatever she earns from the rest of the album, aside from whatever money her tours and other performances bring in. And since 2022, Mariah's resumed her annual holiday show with her Merry Christmas One and All tour. And currently she's in the middle of her 2024 tour, which has a different name called Mariah Carey's Christmas Time. And in between, of course, she's posting her regular festive content, which looks like it includes a Mariah-themed inflatable, Mariah Mondays on Sirius XM, and even a holiday Mariah Barbie doll. In terms of impact, I would think to date, All I Want for Christmas Is You is probably one of the most recognizable modern Christmas songs, if not the most. In my opinion, since that song has been released at least, the only others that might come close are probably Kelly Clarkson's Underneath the Tree, which is extremely popular, or maybe even Sia's Snowman. I also kind of want to throw Christmas and Chill in there. That's one of my holiday favorites, but I would think that's more popular with a relatively younger demographic rather than having the general appeal these other songs have. And after Mariah, and aside from Sia and Kelly, we have pop and R&B girls like Destiny's Child, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Ariana Grande, who I mentioned, Sabrina Carpenter, Coco Jones, and several others putting out holiday projects. And I'm not sure if it's solely due to Mariah's impact, but I would think her having proved these modern holiday hits can be viable may have at least helped. Additionally, whenever it comes to making predictions for the Hot 100, people now tend to account for All I Want for Christmas Is You not only climbing up the top 10 through the remaining weeks of the year, but also holding that top spot around Christmas time. And this year specifically, I saw people saying they hope the song held off from climbing the charts. That way, either Shabuzi could have his record-breaking 20 weeks at the top, or that way Die With a Smile could keep ascending and hopefully hit number 1 before the Christmas season. But on the other hand, aside from All I Want for Christmas Is You eclipsing the Merry Christmas album, a lot of Mariah's fans don't necessarily like that All I Want for Christmas Is You seems to also eclipse Mariah's discography. Because of her holiday output, in some ways it seems like Mariah gets reduced to simply being known as the Queen of Christmas or just someone who sings a lot of Christmas songs. And now it's likely that if you only know one Mariah Carey song, it's probably that one, or Obsessed, honestly. And so several fans just dislike the fact that Mariah's accomplishments as a singer, a writer, a producer get reduced to just that song, just that album, to the point where some say that's all she's really known for publicly, especially among a lot of the younger generation, not all, obviously. And while yeah, that song is probably her biggest moneymaker, she's got several other number 1 songs, albums, and credits to her name. As always, do be sure to let me know your thoughts, your feelings on Mariah Carey, on Merry Christmas, Christmas music in general. Questions for the end. Number 1, which of Mariah's Christmas albums do you prefer, even if you like both? Do you like the original Merry Christmas, or are you more partial to Merry Christmas to you? Also, another one, I have no thoughts yet, so I'm going to enjoy reading your thoughts in the comments and, being like, damn, I wish I would have thought of that. Any pop girl, R&B girl who you would want a Christmas album, even if not an album, just a little song, an EP, if you will. Who else do you want to put out some Christmas bops? Because personally, I don't really like Christmas music, but if I like the artist and they're able to put their own flavor on it, then I can get behind their Christmas songs. But the very traditional ones, not for me. And then final question, how do you feel overall about Mariah Carey's legacy as the Queen of Christmas? Do you just think it's another honor, accolade under her belt in tandem with all of the other ones that she has? Or do you think it's eclipsing her legacy as an artist to the point where people pay more attention to that than her other music? So yeah, thoughts, comments, opinions, holiday cheer, all of that good stuff down below so that we can chat. As always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that you can stick around for more. And if you'd like to become a channel member and get early access to videos, the link is in the description. Again, thank you so much for watching. I love you all so very much, and we'll see you so very soon. Bye-bye.